Hello, lads and lasses. Hey, if you like today's lesson, then write I Heart Art on all of your coronavirus masks, as this would really help spread the good word about my class. Okay, everybody. Today I'm going to explain your sketchbook in a little bit more detail. And we're going to do the first Wisc of the year together, and I'll explain all about the Wisc. And that's the main reason for this. So on Fridays, I grade your sketchbook. And like I said, your sketchbook is your homework for the class. So let me show you guys how to know what to do for homework. So I'm going to zoom in here. And if you look at the the schedule of assignments for this class, and I've given you all the assignments for the entire year. At the date of this recording, it is September 23rd. Let me get a pencil so I can. Oh, excuse me, everybody. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm coming back. All right. So at the date of this recording, it is September 23rd. And if I look at this date and then I look across here, tonight's homework is page 11. And because this is blank, I can draw whatever I want on page 11. So then I would go, let me move this up. Then I would turn then to page, so I'm going from 7 to 9 to 11. Come on, let's focus. Focus. All right, on page 11, that's where I would do my drawing. If I don't know what to do, if I can't think of anything, I can go back to page 3. Page 3 has 169 ideas for your sketchbook. So if we zoom in, I might draw a teapot, or I might draw a fairy, or I might draw a pile of tires. Where did the pile of tires go? Right, a pile of tires, or a baseball glove, or the Leaning Tower of Pisa. These are all ideas that you can do. Now, I recommend that you do stuff that you are interested in. If you're interested in sports, then draw sports. They're on page 11. All right. So once again, if we look at the homework, today's the 23rd. Once again, today I'm supposed to draw whatever I want on page 11. And I expect you to spend about 10 minutes of your time. Monday night's homework, we're spending 10 minutes of your time. Tuesday night's homework, we're spending 10 minutes of your time drawing whatever you want. Wednesday night, tonight, the homework is drawing whatever you want for about 10 minutes. Together, that's 30 minutes. Now, the Wisc, which I'm about to explain in a minute, I expect you to spend about 30 minutes on. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 minutes each. Thursday, 30 minutes each. All of that adds up together to 1 hour. I expect you to spend 1 hour of drawing time per week. And I think that, I've scheduled that because I believe that students have 1 hour to spend on their homework for a week. And it's good just to practice drawing. That's the whole point of this. Is one, to practice what you're drawing, and another is to express yourself. This is an opportunity to do the art that you like to do. For example, if you like drawing robots, I can pretty much guarantee that it's not an assignment in this class that we draw robots. So it's your opportunity to do the art that you like to do. If you like sports, I can't think of any assignments in my class that are themed sports. So it's an opportunity to do the art that you like to do, to explore your interests, as well as practicing. All right, so today we're going to focus on what Wisc means. So I'm going to back this camera up, and we're going to go to the Wisc page right here. All right. So a Wisc is It stands for Weekly Innovative Sketchbook Challenge. And you should have already drawn a rectangle that's 5 by 7. So you trace that card. If you didn't have a card, you can draw a 5 by 7 rectangle on that page and do your art inside that. So our first whisk is going to be on page 12, and you should have, when you were setting up your sketchbook, drawn a rectangle and labeled it with whatever it was here. It says Wisc 1 through 10 on page 12, Wisc 1 through 10 on page 12, right there. All right. It says use an idea from page 5. So this first one, it says Wisc 1 through 10. So then you'll be choosing an idea from 1 through 10. Now today we're all going to do the same thing, but in the future, if it says 1 through 10, you choose an idea from this list. If it says 11 through 20, you choose an idea from this list. If it says 21 through 30, you choose an idea from this list. If it says 31 through 40, you choose an idea from this list. And if it says 41 through 50, use this list. 51 through 60, you use this list. And 61 through 70, use this list. I do want you to notice how. Notice that the length of the sentences are long up here, and the length of the ideas, I'm going to move this up like that, are very short right here. It's just a one-word answer. And I'm going to explain that for you. This one that we're going to do today says a set of keys and a couple of other items from your pocket. That is very easy to understand. Whatever you have in your pocket, or it could be your backpack, or it could be stuff you have in your junk drawer or whatever, it would be that. It's very specific. That if I have a class of 30 and everybody digs in their pocket for a couple of items and then they draw those items, everybody would have a very similar looking drawing. But if we go down to these ones down here, and it just says warped. What are you supposed to draw for warped? What does that mean? The answer is it means whatever it is, whatever it means to you. Whatever you think warped is, draw a picture of that. And I'm giving you an option of 10 on there. So if you can't think of anything warped, try anatomy, try architecture. Look at that list, and whatever speaks to you, do it. All right. So I'm giving you a choice of 10. And also, these offer for more imagination. These are very specific. I'm telling you exactly what to do. But for these, it requires imagination, and it allows you to be more imaginative. All right. Now, we're going to go through this whole list, and I'm going to show you before we do that. All right. So it says use an idea from page 2. I just explained that. Use good composition. And it says no mops. What's a mop? It means middle of page. Never place your focal point near the center of the composition. Make it visually interesting. So I'm going to show you something. If this is my whisk, and all right, no, come on, focus, 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 and all right. So if this is my whisk, and it's whisk 1 through 10, and today we're going to take some keys out from our, well, I'll get to that later. And this is my rectangle that I've drawn that's 5 inches by 7 inches. You do not put your subject in the middle. All right, then that leaves all this extra space empty, and that's boring. That's not interesting to look at. So instead, if this is my rectangle that I'm drawing in, I might zoom in and make my subject, this would be my subject, down here. And then I might have some like background stuff up here. All right. That is more interesting than having it in the middle. So this, I'm going to make a frowny face, even an angry face. All right. That makes me angry. That's bad composition. But this one, all right, is much better. Right. So that's a much better composition. Okay. That's what a mop means. All right, let's do this again and focus. And then finally, your drawing should consume 30 minutes of your time. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of former students' Wisc drawings. So, if you'll forgive me for a couple of minutes, and we're gonna go over, or not for a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. Anyways, I'm just talking to myself now. All right, so I'm gonna go over to my PowerPoint. Okay, here we are at the Wisc. So I'm going to show you some examples. On your list of 70 ideas for Wisc, number 1 says something you are looking at from a prone position. Do you know what a prone position is? And when I ask my students that, sometimes they know, sometimes they don't. A prone position means you are looking down, looking up at something. And so one of my former students was laying on the floor and looked up at his cat, and that's the image that he drew. Another one of my students was looking up at the ceiling in my room, and I had a light up and like that was plugged into an outlet at the ceiling, and that's what he drew. A set of keys and a couple of other items from your pocket. This is what we're going to do today. So I'm going to show you examples of what we're going to do today. So somebody had some coins, some cash, and a key in his wallet. Notice how it fills up the whole space. And he colored it in. Here's another one. Here's another one. They had a button and a coin and 2 keys, and they crossed the keys. This is one that I did. And notice how it's not finished. And here's what you can do. When you hit 30 minutes in your drawing, you don't have to draw any further. So, and in this drawing, I got to be about like an hour, hour and a half when I realized I'd been working way too long. So I just stopped the drawing at that point. But you can stop working when you hit half an hour. That's okay. All I ask is for a half an hour. If you want to go beyond that and you are enjoying the drawing and you want to finish it, absolutely. You can do that too. All right, a pine twig with pine cones or a twig from another plant. Look at this one. Notice how it's not the whole pine cone, that the pine cone is in the corner. And they really zoomed in and got the details of the pine cone. And this one too. This is interesting because the pine cones are not in the middle. And the twig, is kind of all over. It kind of divides up the space. Another thing I want to point out is that it looks like this student had better drawing skills than this student. And what I'm saying to you on this Wisc, you don't have to be a good artist to make good art. This drawing right here is a very basic drawing, but it's well composed. I can see that the student spent 30 minutes on it. You can do this. Anybody in my class can do this, right? This is a nice drawing done by somebody who doesn't have good drawing skills, and that's okay. You're in an Art 1 class. I'm not expecting you to be an artist. I'm expecting you to try. So give it a shot. Here's a good example of that, is that this person obviously had good drawing skills, and then this person didn't. They both got 100 on the assignment. All right, your computer from an angle you do not usually view it, cords and all. It's like that's the back of somebody's monitor. That's one that I did, and I did that with pens, and I definitely spent a lot more than 30 minutes on it, but I was just having some fun. I thought that was a pretty interesting point of view for that computer. And then here again, so try to be creative in your idea. A grouping of photographs of you, your family, or friends in a collage form. I think photographs are becoming a thing of the past, or like having an actual photograph that you touch. It's all on our phones. It's all on our on the computer. Pasting a piece of a magazine on a page and drawing outward from it, changing its context. Again, I think this is a thing of the past. You know, magazines. Like, who has magazines anymore? So this student had cut out a pair of jeans and then drew out from it, and a backpack and drew out from that. A magnifying glass and what it is magnifying, as well as the space around it that is unmagnified. Be creative. Oh yeah, and no cussing, please, in the book. Your shoes or sandals, with or without your feet. So take your shoes off or get a pair of shoes in front of you and draw them. Now, this one doesn't have a background, but try to get a background in there. Try to spend 30 minutes. Your digital camera and the last image showing. That's a sign of the times, too. You might do your phone. Your phone and the last image showing. School appropriate, of course, though. Yeah, change that to your cell phone, your smartphone. A close up of various pieces from a board game. Can you tell what game that was? Most of my students can identify. That's chess. And then like here, there's like Candyland and chess and maybe checkers and some other board games. That's one that I did, and yes, that took me longer than 30 minutes. One of my all-time favorite games is Risk, Scrabble, pieces from board games. I think that's Operation. Oh yeah, they were doing their homework, but this is like a piece from the checkers. Your pet or favorite object from 3 points of view. So there's the front view, there's the side view or the back view, and then there's the side view. Looking from an interior space into an exterior space. Do you know what an interior space is? It means inside, and exterior space is outside. I wish I had a less fuzzy picture of this drawing, but I really like it a lot. It's a girl holding a ball, and here's her dog, and they're looking outside, and it's raining outside. And this picture has a lot of emotion in it. You don't have to be a good artist to show emotion in a work of art. That it's a sad picture because she can't go and play ball with the dog. This student really tried to be clever and creative every time she made art. So I encourage my students to be clever and creative, and that's what she focused on. So this is the interior space looking out, and so the interior space is inside the mouth. It'd be cool if she had the rest of the picture. I think she quit after 30 minutes, but it might be kind of cool to have like a dentist looking in. Fill bottles with colored water and use it in a still life. Your school books arranged in an interesting manner. School books. And that's also a thing of the past, isn't it? So just do books. We don't do school books anymore, do we? If you have any books in the house, arrange them in an interesting manner and draw them. Draw a chess set or another board game partially played. Here is a good example of creative thinking that they're looking at the board game from the point of view of the pieces that are on the board. A lot of my students will do Monopoly, so make sure that when you do Monopoly, you do it at an interesting point of view. I think by now you would have seen my lecture on lines, and when I talked about diagonal lines being more interesting than horizontal and vertical lines. So when you're doing a board game that has horizontal and vertical lines, change the orientation of the board to make it diagonal. That makes it more interesting. Scrabble, bowling. I don't think that's a board game, but it's a good drawing. Draw a chair from an unusual or interesting viewpoint. A close up of 3 to 5 pieces of popcorn. So here's what I was talking about with composition. Oh, the photograph on the left puts the popcorn in the middle of the page. This on here on the left, that's what they call a MOP, an MOP, middle of page. And you have this little bit of popcorn, and all around it is empty, and that's boring. Zoom into that popcorn, get real close to it, have it fill up the whole space. That would be more interesting to look at. Popcorn. Person added ants. Your sunglasses and what they reflect. I thought this one was creative. You recognize that superhero? Not the one in the glasses. Some people might recognize it. I'm having a brain fart. I know who this is. It's the Will Smith superhero. It starts with an H. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Will Smith superhero. I'll go over here. Yeah. Hancock. All right, it's Hancock. Thought so. Let's do from beginning from current slide. All right, your sunglasses and what they reflect. That's Hancock. He's flying around and he sees Superman flying around. All right, your sunglasses and what they reflect. The skeleton of a small animal or bird. Draw a big bag of candy or marshmallows. All right, this is interesting. Look at this. Both of these students drew the same thing, a bag of marshmallows. Now, look at these two pictures. Which one is more interesting to look at? Which one has the better composition? Which one is more creative? It's the one on the right. The one on the left, they just drew the bag, and it's a nice drawing, and they spent 30 minutes on it. And like I said, both of these students got 100. So they did a good job. But the person on the right did a better job because it was creative, it was interesting. It tells a story. It tells the story of camping. They went camping and they roasted marshmallows on a stick on the open fire. And it's at an angle. Like this one, the rectangular bag fit perfectly the rectangle of the drawing. But this one, the rectangular bag was at an angle. It was off to the side. It wasn't a mop. And then the stick over here filled up the space on the left. This is a good drawing. Be creative, be different, move things around. All right, a self-portrait with an expression or a mood. Now, this is one that I did, and this is a painting, and yes, it took me a lot longer than 30 minutes, but uh, I was experimenting with paint, and I was also making an example of this particular whisk. Here was a good example. Once they hit the 30 minutes, they stopped. Draw a person holding an unusual object. That's one that I did. And don't ask me what that is he's holding. I don't know. And this is the girl that wanted to be extra creative. And so the unusual object that the person is holding is the unicorn in the hand. Your favorite food with wrapper included. Landscapes with or without man-made structures. A close-up of an insect. Still life of art supplies. Pile of dishes in the sink. An image from a dream. I like that one. This kid, very creative kid, and what kind of dreams was he having? Still life with breakfast objects. That's the syrup going over the pancakes. Waffles. The view out of an unusual window. Try to be creative. That window's on the ground. And what window is that? Anybody that likes sci-fi will know that that's a Star Trek window or Star Wars window. Take a news story and illustrate. Oh, by the way, I see. What was this? This one over here. One summer there was a cloud formation that looked just like that, and it looked like a rocket going out, and it was out over the ocean next to California, and nobody knew what caused it. The government said it wasn't them, and people suspected that it might have been China or something. Casey Anthony trial. Troops. And once again, once you hit your 30 minutes, it's okay to stop. Draw old buildings with character. That one might be a view out of an unusual window. No, it says draw old buildings with character. There it is, right up there. The student wrote down which one she did. All right, here's where we try to get a little bit more creative. So, like on this one, threads. How would you draw threads? And, in a class of 30 kids, I would hope that I would get 30 different responses or 30 different ideas of what threads could mean. So, one student thought about a cat playing with yarn. Another student thought about the friendship bracelet that she wore that she made out of thread. So her and her friend had the same bracelet. Another student thought about the threads on a screw. Another student thought about the threads that are in her jeans. Take cover. By the way, take cover. A lot of my students will do like explosions happening and stuff like that. But this student thought about taking cover under an umbrella in the rain. And this student thought about taking cover from an angry parent. And here's another one, a student taking cover from an angry parent. Sometimes students can work out some issues that they're working through. And this one I thought was really clever. It literally is taking the covers. Mouse is taking cover from a broom. Forest floor. And this isn't a drawing, but you can go out and take pictures of these things and work from a photograph. So, I was on a hike and I thought about, this project and I thought about a forest floor. And so I took a picture of the forest floor. Being green. Here's one where it's open to interpretation. What does being green mean to you? This person just thought about a green pattern. This person thought about recycling. And this one, yeah, here I love the creativity of this one. And here's a great example of you don't have to be a good artist to make a good work of art. This student thought about when she was in the fifth grade and she got nervous during the spelling bee and she threw up on stage. And, throwing up is like you feel green is when you're really sick and nervous. And so that's what that came about. Very clever. I love this drawing. And once again, it's a good example. You don't have to be a good artist to make fun art. This person thought being green means planting things. An alien sunset. Hot and cold. Lemon yellow. I thought this one was really clever. Disgusting, but clever. Transparent. Nightmares. This image right here is one of the scariest images I've ever seen on this whisk. That is just very unsettling. Definitely a nightmare image. I get around. Pile of shoes. Over the edge. This one is mine. One of my all-time favorite movies is a movie called Over the Edge. And there was a bully in the movie. His name is Richie White. And one of his quotes is, "A kid who tells on another kid is a dead kid." Messing around. All that glitters. Conflict of interest. Distorted reflections. Pairs. How would you draw pairs? This person thought of the pairs of animals going into the ark. Layers. This one is interesting. I got a lot of different responses of layers. So what layers is this? This is layers of cake, layers of clothes, layers of an onion. This student subscribed to a magazine called Layers. Layers of the rainforest. Habits. The end. How would you draw the end? Oh, this student was clever. When you cut a wire, then that becomes the end of the wire. Warped. Balance. The senses. Seasons. Oh, by the way, like these, they used all the senses in one, but I thought this one was really clever because she just focused on one sense. Seasons. Can you see all the seasons in this picture? It's kind of faded, so it's hard to tell, but like back here is summer, and this would be springtime, and this is a snow globe, that would be winter, and here's a dead leaf, that would be fall. Architecture. All right, so what I've given you is examples of Wiscs that other students have done. All right, I'm going to go over and we're going to do one of the Wiscs together. So I'll see you there. Okay, so we're back at our sketchbook. So we're going to turn to our 70 ideas. And number 2 says a set of keys and a couple of other items from your pocket. So turn to number 12, and we're going to do a drawing together, a set of keys and a couple of other items from your pocket. All right, so we're going to pretend that I'm on page 12, and over here I'm going to have my keys and a couple of other items from my pocket, which in my pocket I just had coins. All right, now I'm going to jump down with my document camera so we can see it a little bit better. Chase it that way, go like this. All right, now I could draw my keys in the middle of the page, right? Like I'm not supposed to. So, I do my keys. I'm going to do this real quick because this is the wrong way to do it. And there's that, and then there's the other key, and then there's that, and then there's coins all around here, and then there's another key. All right, and then there's that. All right, that would have left all of this stuff around here empty. That's not what I want. I want you to zoom in and draw this so that it fills up the space. I don't want all this empty space. All of this, all right, is a no-no. Yeah. And I'm going to do, ugh, all right, that I don't like. So we're going to do it properly. So I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to start with, and I know I haven't taught you guys how to draw, but I'm going to give you a couple of tips right now. So one way to draw is to not think of it as coins or keys or whatever it is you have in your pocket. Think of it as just a bunch of lines. So I'm not going to think of it as keys. It's just a bunch of lines. Another thing to think about is just take it one line at a time. I'm going to move this up here to make it more interesting. There we go. All right, so it's all real clustered together. All right, so I'm going to do it from my point of view, not necessarily the camera's point of view. So I'm going to start with this key right here, and I'm going to see, can you see my pencil drawing? And it comes around like this, and then there's a straight line that goes this way. And then that goes up. There's a hole. All right. And there's a circle. And then there's this circle. I'm just kind of, and I'm sketching things out at first. All right, and then there's, goes like this, and then it's straight, and it goes like this, it's straight. And then right here it goes, and the key has a thickness to it. So whatever I do has to be mirrored like that. And there's like that. And then there's a couple of lines that go this way. And then there's another line that goes up this way. And then I see this around here. Okay, now this comes around over here. This comes around over here. And this gets interrupted. There's a big other key right here. And then this goes like this, like it's, and it goes back around like that. So it's like this little moon shape right there. And then it's that yellow, this is the yellow key that I have. And then that comes out of it. And there's a hole right there. Erase that little part right there. There's a hole. And then this goes back around like this. This goes around like that. And then there's a key going off this direction. And that goes like that. So, and what is this? I'm going to erase the little light lines that I put in there. And this goes back in like that. That goes in like that. And then over here, there's a coin that comes in this way. And then right behind it, there's another coin that goes out this way. And there's a coin that goes like this. And that says United States. N-I-T-E-D. And then an S T. All right. So I zoom in. Oh yeah, that's even better. Let's get this a little bit more like that. You can see it better. There's a little bit of writing, so there's an A right here, but that A is upside down. And there's a G. There's a 2. And then right here, that had, this is, oh, it's in the wrong place. That thing that I was drawing needs to be a little bit closer to here. So right around right here. So I'm going to draw very lightly a little circle. And then there's another little circle, and that goes like that. That goes around here. And then this one cuts it off. It's around like that. And then this one goes around like that. And then that goes like this. There's some words. Can't quite read them. There's some kind of words right here. Can't quite read it. And, all right. Then I would go back in and start shading things in. Like this area right here behind this key. Well, this key gets kind of dark right here. So I could shade in this one right here. And I can even like blend it so it goes. That's one of the things I kind of like to do is to have like a little bit of blending right there. So it goes from light to dark. And then right underneath it, I can make it kind of light shading. And carry on. I showed you examples, shade it in, spend 30 minutes drawing your keys, and then that's the assignment. All right, that's the first Wisc on page 12. Now, go ahead and do your assignment, but I'm going to talk a little bit about your sketchbook. So if you look at this page, now this is your assignments for the rest of the year. So we're doing this one right here, 12 on page, or the Wisc 1 through 10 on page 12. So next Monday, all right, the day after the weekend, your assignment is to do 13. And then on Tuesday, your assignment is to do 14. What do? Anything you want, spend about 10 minutes of it. And on Wednesday, do a 10-minute drawing on page 15. And then on Thursday is our next Wisc. And so you just keep on going. So you can go at your own pace, but make sure that every Friday is when I grade. So make sure every Friday you have all 4 homeworks from that week ready for me to grade. I also will say that you can work ahead. Don't get behind, but you can absolutely work ahead. I had a student once who completed the whole year's worth of work within a month. So he'd done all the assignments all the way up until mid-May, and then he didn't have to do them ever again. He was done for the year. You can do that if you want to. But just remember that I grade every Friday. All right. So that explains how to do the Wisc. That explains your homework. And that concludes this assignment. All right. That's it for now. And until next time, be a little art factory.